So, our day 2 program. This is our agenda. We're going to talk how to effectively work in a team. So we're going to give you a little bit of, impart some knowledge that Renata and I have learnt over our years of wisdom, hopefully, to let you know, talking in an intercultural, working in an intercultural environment, working on your project idea, how to start, because some of you might still be thinking, we really haven't settled on something yet, and you might be still going around in circles and brainstorming of what your project idea is. And we're going to talk about challenges in your team and how you can overcome them, because you will all face challenges in your team, and talking about the project life cycle. But if you want this presentation, you can scan the QR code and you can download it. So you've always got it referenced, which means you now don't need to take notes, which is cool. Doesn't mean you can play games on your phone, but hey, you can do it if you like. Okay, then let's go to the first part of our session, teamwork. So yesterday we have placed you into teams with the aim to work on the project. You already know, I think, that it is quite challenging to work in a team, especially when you meet for the first time and you don't know each other. But believe us, it is also rewarding, and I hope you will all find out this at the very end of that forum. What is important for us, but also for you, is to make sure that everyone will be able to contribute to the project proposal that you will develop. It is important also that everyone contributes according to their skills and knowledge, which means that first you have to understand what are the strengths of your team members. And finally, alone you might go fast, that's true, but together you will go much farther. When we talk about effective teamwork, there are at least those few components to take into account. Communication, trust, clear goals, thank you, understanding, and clear tasks. So let's go for communication. We put it in front as a first element because it's really so much important. And communication includes also listening to others and hearing their ideas and contributions. I think this morning one of the speakers also outlined the importance of the listening skills. I think it was for the sport diplomacy. It's not only for the sport diplomacy, actually it's for everything in our life, but especially when you are working in a team. Sometimes actually the smartest person in your team can be a person that is shy and that is not speaking a lot. It will be important to let the chance to that person to express her or himself. So give everyone the chance to have their say, no matter their level of English, etc. And if you face some communication problems because of language barrier, use the new technologies, Google Translator or others, but also use the strengths of your team members. You can have team members, friends speaking in your group if there is a barrier of the language because of the French, English problematic. So take advantage of your team members also to solve that problem if you have that problem in your team. The next one is about trust. It's like in the life. When you have a friend, or when you hope to develop a friendship relation, it starts with a trust. There cannot be a close relation with another person when there is no trust, and the same goes for the work in a team. You will work very hard these next hours and days, and you will need to develop this trust relation between you in order to be more effective and in order also to make it more enjoyable. Your team will trust you as a project leader, but it is also a message not only for the project leaders but also for the team members. If they will feel they can be themselves,
They will feel they are connected to the team. They can see that they have meaningful contribution within the team, and that their opinion and thoughts can be expressed and are heard. And how can we achieve that? So, to create this kind of trust within a team, please be supportive. Please be united in this aim to seek the solution to problems. Try to be clear when you will speak. Try to be clear when you will explain your idea for the project. Be also clear on the purpose of the whole exercise. Encourage constructive feedback. Give credit where credit is due. It's so important to thank the team members, to congratulate the team members. All in all, it's about creating a safe and inclusive environment in which everyone can feel comfortable and accepted. And by the way, mistakes are acceptable. You are there as a team to identify what is correct as an idea, what can be wrong, how can that be corrected to go farther and better. People can speak up in the team, so important. So let everyone to have their say.
You want to do this one?
Yes.
Okay. I do this. It's really important to have clear goals. You've all got a project. You've all got a topic. You should know what the goal is. The goal is to present a project idea to the jury on Saturday. It's Wednesday, just reminding you. That's your goal. So does everybody understand what their role is in the organisation, in your project group? We've all done the group assignments where somebody goes missing. We're all at university, you know those group assignments where you really want the great mark, but somebody always just goes missing. But how engaged were they in that group project to start with? So engaging everybody in the project, in your team, is really important. If you have somebody, this goes back to communication, if you have somebody in your group who doesn't have great English speaking skills, English is their second language, and everybody's speaking English really, really fast and then they can't keep up and they don't know what's talking about and bouncing ideas back and forth, it's really difficult. And what I just said, I'll repeat, when you're speaking really fast in a group, if there is somebody who doesn't understand, they can become lost, disengaged, and therefore they won't end up knowing the goal, being a part of the team. So it's really important to slow down, ensure that everybody understands, and even more importantly, if you don't understand, I'm sorry, can you repeat that? I'm not really sure. Just put your hand up, and everybody should feel safe in their group to put their hand up. So you can be aware of the goals, aware of your role and your task in the team. Now, what's special about this slide?
There is a koala to win if you have the correct answer.
Phone over there.
Sorry?
The phone over there. That's the icon of the phone.
No, not really, but that's okay. It's kind of, yes.
Communication is like both ways. So
Yep.
you have to be able to just like a communicator can still just be there to like listen.
Fantastic. That's good. That's good. Still not quite the correct answer we're looking for.
There's not too much text. It's not too overwhelming.
Yep. It's good. But what's specific about, not necessarily what's on the slide, but about this slide?
Everything was said before.
Oh, I'm not going to give away the koala. One more shot.
Communication is the key.
It is the key, and absolutely everything you have all said is amazing. But if you're paying attention, we had this slide earlier. It's a double up.
Well, that's what you said.
Oh, did you think so? Oh, before then, I'm sorry, I didn't hear the second time. Was it the second one?
Yeah.
The second points? The first one was actually, my apologies. I didn't understand correctly. So there you go. Good spotting. It was. It's a mistake. We put it in twice. You know, the funny thing is that Renata came to me earlier and she said, Donna, I think we've doubled up on a slide. And I went, oh, we have. And then I remembered, I went, Renata, I haven't changed these slides since Costa Rica 2 years ago. So in Costa Rica, we doubled up on the slides as well. So. Anyway, moving on, understanding. It's very, very important that everybody in your team is different. Everybody has amazing skills, experiences, and they can all contribute to your team. Different ideas. There's no silly ideas, because the silliest idea can all be laughed at. Oh, that was a bit, that was a bit weird. Actually, that's pretty good. You can have the most amazing ideas from little bouncy conversations that are spoken about and people think it's a silly idea. Nothing is silly. So having good understanding amongst your group to ensure that there are differences, people can bring their experiences and contribute to your team is really, really important. They're your strengths, really, ultimately, and I think you can read the rest of the screen there. Tasks. Renata, do you want to take over the tasks?
Yeah, absolutely. We hope you have already started to define the task within your team, or maybe not yet. It's still time to do that. When you are starting to work on a project, it's a very important part of it to have a list of tasks to be accomplished till Saturday, in our case, to be successful. When you will set that list of the tasks, it is important that all team members will agree on that and they will have understanding why those tasks are needed. Then it is important also to set realistic expectations for each task, and in our case it will be even more important because you have only a few hours altogether to work on the project, so that you have to set some ambitious objectives, goals to reach, but you have to be at the same time realistic, to have always a balance between both. It will be so important to set also clear task deadlines. So we will talk about the project life cycle at the end of that session to make you understand how this week will look like and your work will look like. But keep in mind that when you will assign tasks among your team members, it's important to also set deadlines. When you will assign the tasks, do it please based on skills and specific experience of your team members, and rather try to have volunteers for those tasks. This is preferable, but if not, and I'm looking now at the project leaders, try to find the best solution or the best, let's say, volunteer for a task that nobody will want to do, or you can assign more than one person to a task that nobody will be willing to do. And then, of course, by the end, check with all members of your groups if they can meet the deadlines and if they agree on the tasks. What can be the examples of those tasks? We have helped you this time with the topics. You have already the topic. We have also given you some background information about each topic, what is the current situation in FISU, what potentially could be the future. But still, you need to find out more, I presume, for each of the topics. So, among the tasks that you could allocate could be looking for information on the FISU website. This is really time-consuming. There is so much information. Looking also for references in the FISU strategy, a very important document for you to know in the context of this competition. You can also seek for some statistics if you will find that it might be useful for your project. Some other tasks might include graphic design tasks, because at the end you will present your project with a very beautiful digital poster, and maybe there are some team members that are very good in graphic design to do that. Some more simple tasks can include grammar and spell checking. If you are lucky enough to have some native speaker in your group, and I think it's the case for most of the groups, you can use their skills and knowledge to do that. And of course, one of the last examples that we give you is a scenario for the oral presentation. You might have people in your team that are used to do this kind of presentations and that can develop this scenario. Or you can do that together. Both ways are good. You may choose the one that you will consider as the quickest one. And these are only the examples. The list is much, 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 much longer. When you will assign the tasks, I've already said that it's good to do that according to the skills and knowledge of your team members. And it's always better when it happens on a voluntary basis. We can go to the next one. And for that, the first actually thing to do for you is to understand the strengths of all your team members. You will be not able to allocate the tasks correctly if you don't know who is good in what. If you don't know who is good in graphic design, you will not allocate that task correctly, etc., etc., etc. This first part of getting to know each other, of understanding your group members' backgrounds, experiences, skills, is extremely, extremely important. It usually happens at the very beginning of your meetings, but I would encourage you, we both encourage you to continue getting to know each other. It will help you a lot by working in a team. There are different roles in a team. We give you that list just for you to know it can be true for this competition. It can be true also for other kinds of assignments that you will have at university or in your professional life. There is always a leader. In this case, we have appointed leaders, but sometimes leaders might need some help. Sometimes they might feel a little bit weak or tired for a number of reasons. Do not hesitate, I'm talking now to other group members, to replace the leader or to support your leader when he or she will need it. It's very, very, very important. Another role is the contributor, the person who likes the discussion, who has always something to contribute, to say, a lot of ideas. The quiet person, the person who doesn't say much, but we have already said, sometimes the most shy person has the most brilliant ideas. The loudest person, the person who likes to talk and have their opinion heard. The process person, the one that will check if you are still meeting the deadline, if your meeting is on time or not. And the report person, the person who always writes stuff down, very important too, not to forget about what you have been discussing. What role you will play in a team, it's up to you. You will, for those who have not so much experience in working in a team, you will discover it slowly by working in these groups. It's a little bit different working actually in a team that is intercultural and that don't know each other. It's actually massively different from what you are used to do at the university. And we will talk about that in a few moments. No role is better or worse, okay? And it's important to remember that different people prefer different roles. It is fine. What is even more important to remember is that diverse skills, experiences, and opinions help to make a great team. And with that, I pass over to Don.
But first we're going to try something. I think we need to do heads and tails. We need to do heads and tails?
Okay, you have to remind me about that.
Yep, okay, right. So, does anyone know the game? We're all going to play a game, and this is for a koala. This is very important. Everyone knows the game of heads and tails. So, essentially what Renata is going to do, she's going to turn her back and face the screen. I'm going to ask all of you to stand up. And we're going to eliminate until we have one person left. So when I say make your choice, you choose heads. If you choose heads, you put your hands on your heads. If you choose tails, you put your hands on your butt. Okay. Heads, tails. You choose which one. And then, when you're all ready, because there's no changing, oh no, I'm going to ask Renata to make a choice. So we'll do a practice run, okay, just to make sure that everybody's got it. So I want you, audience now, to please choose heads or tails. So you can either put your hands on your heads or hands on your tail, whichever you prefer. No, Renata's not going to look. That's no, she's not looking at. This is a practice run. Okay, so you've either got hands on your butt or hands on your head, your choice. So now that we've done that, I'm going to say, Renata, please make a choice, heads or tails. So that means everybody who's got their hands on their heads is out and they sit down.
Oh, opposite.
Okay? Alright, so we'll do another practice run, Okay, so audience, choose heads or tails. Choose, make a choice. Make a choice. Oh no, not you yet. Not you yet. I'll say Renata, you make a choice. Alright, okay, you too. Alright. So, audience, choose your heads or tails. Okay, now Renata, make your choice. Heads. So everyone who has their hand on their head is out. Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah.
And you keep going until we've got 2 people left, and then there's a winner, and they get a koala. Alright, this is high stakes, the koala diplomacy, remember. Okay, so everybody's back in, so everyone stand up, everyone's back in. This is for real now. When Renata does heads or tails, if you've got the same as Renata, you're out, you sit down. So, not yet Renata. Okay, alright, audience, heads or tails, make your choice. No changing. Alright, and Renata, make your choice. Alright, everyone put your hands on the table. Okay, alright, that narrowed it down a little bit. Okay, those that are left standing, make your choice, heads or tails. Hands on heads or hands on butts. Okay, everyone's made their choice. I think, Renata, your turn to make your choice. Okay, there's a few people still here. Alright, audience, make your choice, heads or tails. Okay, and Renata, please make your choice. Alright, and now it gets tricky. Those that are left standing, there's only a few, but keep standing. But I want those who are standing to make their choice, heads or tails. Make your choice. Can't do both. Good try, can't do both. Alright, Renata, make your choice. Alright, okay, 1, 2, 3. 6 left. Alright, 6 of you that are left. Make your choice, heads or tails. Okay, Renata, make your choice. We have a winner! Straight up! There are only 5 people in this. So, our friend from Chinese Taipei, he's got his hand on his head, so he's the only one. He wins a koala. That was all just to keep you all awake as well. Good job. We'll play that again throughout the week. That's all good. That's all good. But we're going to talk about what does it mean to work in a diverse and intercultural environment. We've spoken about it a number of times. Intercultural teams or teams with people from all over the world are probably more successful than teams who don't have any diversity in their team. It's a well-known fact. You can look up a whole lot of research on it if you want to, I'm sure. But diverse teams are always much more successful. Different perspectives, different solutions, but it can be challenging. And we're going to talk a little bit about some challenges in a minute. But when you're working in your team, please remember, everyone's got different cultural backgrounds, everyone's got different beliefs. Sometimes you can't just go up and shake the hand of a person or give them a hug. So you need to be aware of those cultural sensitivities. People can also, because everyone speaks their first language is not all the same, they can interpret things differently. I can say one thing and Renata will understand it a completely different way to Bayer. So it does not, if you're not sure of what's being spoken about, again, put your hand in the air, because often different languages use sort of slang or specific words that are maybe relevant to call a particular project or task something different and you don't know what it means. So be respectful of that.
Another example is the attitude towards the time. It is a very well-known fact that for people from north part of Europe or America and south part of Europe or America, they interpret the attitude towards the time is completely different. If I will say we meet at 8 in the morning, probably the person from north will be there 5 to 8, okay? While the person from south might be there 15 minutes after 8. We are talking here about this kind of difference, and you will face actually that reality in your teams, or you have already faced that reality. So be respectful towards that, but it goes both ways. For the project manager to be respectful, but also for the members to be respectful towards that.
It's a really good point. Island time. Has anybody heard that expression? Island time, we have it in the Pacific. It's mañana. We've all heard that expression sometimes, tomorrow, later on. It is, if you are a person that is the 15 minutes late, or I'll just show up when it's ready for me, you should respect the rest of your team members. But also, those people who are early birds should also respect that not everybody's an early bird. So it is coming up with that compromise within your team. And if you all agree to synchronise your watches and go meet at a certain time, you should all try to be meeting at a certain time. And what's the expression, Bill? I think you used this yesterday. There's no such thing as something about late and on time. Can you quote? If you're on time, you're late. Has anyone heard that expression before? Actually, if I like it, I'm going to use it if I can remember it properly. But if you're on time, you're late. So always try to be on time or earlier if you can. Respect your teammates and keep that in mind. I think we've gone over a lot of these tips again. Make sure you're clearly communicating. You're using simple, easy language. Try not to use slang. Try not to speak too fast. Everybody understands instructions quite differently. We just had a couple of practice rounds of heads and tails, and it took a couple of practice rounds for even the simplest instructions for everyone to understand them. There's nothing wrong with that at all. People interpret things differently. And don't assume that people know what you mean. If I talk about island time, I just mentioned it before, I assumed you all knew what I meant. But you don't. Island time in the Oceania region is that everybody does things in their own time. And they're not always on time. They're often always late, or if they remember to come along at all. So that's what island time does mean. Don't leave anyone aside. Ensure everyone's got a job, everyone participates, and if you see somebody sitting back and not talking or not engaging, so Renata, what do you think about that? Bring them into the group. There's really simple, easy ways. Sharing the same vision, approaching with an open mind is really important. Your goals. Try different things. The way that you do something isn't always the right way, and the way that somebody else does something can actually improve your project. So really be open to share ideas. Take advantage of all of the great experiences people have had. We've all had terrible university group work experience, yeah? Everybody has. Well, I'm assuming most people have had terrible group university project experiences. Let's not make this one of those. We all have been there, we all don't want to be there again. So that's a great way to go.
I might say just one last thing, because we've been talking a lot about the obstacles and challenges in such a diverse and cultural group that you are composing in your team. But what is important for you to remember is also that it's not only an obstacle, there are not only the challenges, it's a beautiful human adventure. And you can take so much richness from that. At least we wish you that.
Absolutely. I'll give you an example, and the team leaders have heard me say this before. There was a gentleman, and he's from Australia, who represented Australia at a forum in Montpellier in France. Montpellier. Sorry, my French is not very good. Montpellier in France. He had contacted UniSport Australia to do a volunteer role. And all of a sudden, we were sending him to Montpellier in France to be our representative at the forum. He made so many great friends, had a wonderful time, opened his eyes. He had no idea about the world of university sport and all these wonderful people out there. He has now travelled the world 2 or 3 times and visited all the friends he's made. And he's just set up a fantastic an online community for student graduates, which is going fantastic because of his network and because of his friends. So this is a great opportunity for you to make new friends, not only the people in your team, but also around. Or help each other out. It would be fantastic. Okay, we'll move on. Stop loving on. Project ideas, in case you're struggling on what to do.
So you have all received the topic and also the background about that topic. Take really time to understand it, to read it carefully, to read it by yourself, but also with your team members, to see if everything is clear for you. If it's not, you can come back to us and ask questions. Then, brainstorm a little bit with your group and check what kind of proposal can be of interest for your group members. And at that point, probably you will have a lot of ideas, a lot of proposal raising, and then it's up to you in your group to discuss and to see what is the idea that is getting most interest of all group members. You can seek inspiration from FISU strategy, from United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Please look also what kind of activities and programs are already existing in your national federations and what could be helpful at the level of your national university sport federation. Think also about what kind of project you would like to participate in, what could be of benefit for you from your perspective, because actually we have planned that competition to have your student perspective on what is going in the university sport movement. What does FISU lack and how your idea, your project can help FISU to grow? But most of all, carefully and respectfully listen to the ideas of all group members. Once the concept of your project will become a little bit more clear, then just make a kind of checklist and make sure that your project is a result of the idea that is shared by everyone, okay? That it is aligned with the topic, with the FISU strategy and all modern trends in university sport. And also make sure that it does not overlap with some activity already existing. What would be also useful to check for you is the project really responds to some real need. Then does it have a specific target group? Is it realistic in terms of budget and human resources? I'm talking now more about project management things. We hope that most of you have completed the pre-learning that we proposed before you came to the forum. If not, for those who have not completed that, you have still a chance to do that. It will help you actually to structure your idea into a project. What will be very important also is to list the outcomes and the end results of your projects and try to list it in terms of quantity and quality. And finally, will your project idea bring an added value to FISU?
So some challenges, if you haven't already faced some of these. Some ideas on how you might get, just examples of challenges. You can't come up with an idea, you're stuck. Go back to your brainstorming, settle on an idea. Maybe it's a majority rules. Most groups I think have an even number, but there are some that have an odd number. Maybe it's a vote if you can't decide. Maybe it's flip a coin, heads or tails. But that's not agreeing on an idea is a very common challenge. You want to change the project halfway through. You want to change your idea. That happens too, and that's okay. If you can handle that in the workload and the time load, and you all agree, and it's a choice for the whole group, change your idea. That's okay too. It doesn't matter, but you all need to agree. But it's Wednesday, and you're presenting to the jury on Saturday. We've got the cultural program all day tomorrow. Who's going to work on it then? None of you. Okay, let's be realistic. In the evenings, in the breaks, in our sessions, you're going to have at least another hour now after we've finished to be able to work in your group. So you're going to need to be aware of the time frames with that. Not everyone's contributing. I think we've spoken a number of times about how you can draw people in, get their opinion, but if people are not understanding the common goal, or they are not understanding because your language is, you're speaking far too fast, and you're not stopping to check that everybody understands you, can cause problems, and then somebody will just drop out. And then on Friday, this happens, there will be at least one group that will come to us and going, oh, Renata, we've lost Bill. He's just disappeared. He doesn't come to our team meetings anymore, he's just disappeared. That will happen to at least one group, I can guarantee it. But that will be because if we went to Bill, perhaps he's not feeling engaged or doesn't understand. And that is usually the first reason why somebody will leave the group. Someone not pulling their weight or not doing the tasks you said, have an honest conversation. Renata, you were going to get that deadline to us, but you missed the deadline. Is everything okay? That's a different way to ask the question, isn't it? Sorry, I cut her off. I know, I didn't give her a chance to answer. But if I was to go up to Renata and say, Renata, you've not done that, come on, where is it? Everybody's waiting. Not so great. But if I ask Renata, you were going to do that task, is everything okay?
Actually not. I have some family problems, but don't worry, I will do it by Friday evening.
Okay, fantastic, awesome, that's great, thank you. You sure, is everything okay with your family?
Yeah, I will do that.
I've just engaged with Renata. There's a quick little easy ways to do these great things, and it's really, really important. And you're running out of time, and there's so much to do. Who's got all the time in the world? I was hoping somebody put up their hand, because then I'd want your tips on how to make that work. We don't have enough time. There isn't enough time. And there's so much cool stuff to do while you're here. There's a lot of cultural programs. There's hanging out with people. There's going for coffee. There's going for a sport program. There's going to play sports. There's so much to do. You will run out of time. So take the important things. Take the key things. Take the big rocks. That's another expression which I'll talk about maybe another time. Take the big things that you need to get done. Does everybody know what they have to do? Is somebody working on the poster presentation that's going to be shown on the screen? Does everybody have a role and know how they're speaking on Saturday for the jury? That's good stuff.
Okay, and since we are talking about the lack of time, we'll just remind you by the end of our session about the project life cycle. For those who have completed the pre-learning, you know already that slide. We start our project with initiation. You are, most of you, at that stage. Some of you moved already to the stage of planning. This is the stage when you have already a broad idea about the project you want to do. You start to brainstorming a little bit deeper and to getting a structure of your project and translating it into objectives and results, target groups, etc., etc., etc. And that phase, we can go to the next one. Thank you. And that phase will run till Friday, more or less. Okay. Friday you will have quite a lot of time to work on the project, and this is when we advise you to finish with that phase, and then on Saturday is execution. But all Saturday morning, it's time dedicated for you, for the groups to work on the project, so you will have time to finalize your poster. Ideally, you will start to work on it already on Friday evening, and you will have time to finalize your oral presentation. So that is the execution phase, and then we included in that slide also the closing, which will be a possible follow-up and continuation if your project is among the winners.
Okay, group work is a human adventure. That's Renata always calls it, and I think that's a really great way to do it. It's an adventure. It's fun. It's tough. It's challenging, but it's so rewarding. So rewarding to make the new friends that you've made, work in a team, learn about different cultures, learn about what campus life is like. All of you go to different universities. What's campus life like? Make the best out of the opportunity. Diversity, as I mentioned before, the best ideas come from a diverse team. If you have a bunch of old men sitting around a table making decisions, it's not very diverse. Having student groups, young people, people who have been in the early stages of their university career, might be, some people in here might be masters and PhD students as well. Some people are athletes, some people are administrators, male, female, all genders are represented. There's diversity in cultures. It's such a rich environment, and we get really excited when we see the projects on Saturday because you have the best ideas. We're just old people now. Well, sorry, I can't count Renata or anything, but we love to hear young people's ideas because we want to implement them.